Electric Gold. It is Friday, March 8th, and this is a Nashville Soccer Club supporter podcast. I am Ryan. I'm here with my good friends, Evan and John. We're all big soccer fans, and we are all big Nashville Soccer Club fans and season ticket holders, and just very enthusiastic about the club and ready to talk about what's happened this week. Guys, how are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Doing great.
I'm feeling okay. I'm a little bit tired and worn out from a very intense game last night, and we'll talk about all of that in a minute. And when we do these podcasts, we like to have a tasty beverage next to us. John, what are you drinking this evening?
I am drinking a Hawaiian Thanksgiving beer from Nashville Brewery, Southern Grist Brewing Company. They are sweet enough to sponsor the Assembly Supporters Group for Nashville, which Ryan and I are both a part of. Evan, are you in it? I can't remember.
I am.
Sweet. We're all Assembly members then.
Yes, we
Cheers.
Cheers to that. The particular beer I'm drinking is I want to read the description. I got to take my glasses off to do it. It is a Gosa-style ale brewed with Hawaiian sea salt, coriander, passion fruit, and cranberry.
Wow.
Is it fruity?
Yeah, sour and fruity.
Wow, that's an interesting combination. Do you feel like you're in Hawaii when you're drinking that thing?
A little bit. I feel I feel tropical.
Yeah? Are you ready to have like a pig roasting on a spit nearby?
I would love that. I would much prefer that to talking to you guys right now. I would love to be chowing down on a roasted pig while drinking this beer. So I want to say thank you, Southern Grist, for making a sour, delightful beer.
Excellent. How about yourself, Evan?
Well, tonight I'm having a Fat Bottom Daisy, and it's a
Excellent.
Hazy IPA, which, as you know, is right up my alley, and it's the first time I've had it, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it so far.
Wonderful. How is it compared to some of your other favorite IPAs?
Yeah, it's just a little milder, I would say, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all.
Excellent. And of course, Fat Bottom, also a Nashville brewery, so supporting the hometown there. I'm actually not at all. I dug into my overstock of Sam Adams Oktoberfest. I know it's March, but I got to get rid of this stuff.
Turncoat.
Yeah, you better get through them because they'll be having them back out here in a couple of months.
I know. I stocked up a little bit, so yeah, I'm just working through my inventory. But you know, it's Old Faithful. You can't go wrong with a solid Oktoberfest.
Carpet bagger.
Totally. All right, guys, let's do the week in review. Last Saturday, Nashville Soccer Club had a match against a Colorado squad that finished last in the MLS Western Conference last year. The match took place in Denver. Neither Hani Mukhtar nor Sam Surridge played. The game was a sloppy affair featuring an own goal off of Shaq Moore, a header in the box, and then a late bailout as Teal Bunbury converted a penalty kick after Colorado defender Jonathan Lewis committed a handball in their own box. Final score was 1-1 draw, and Jack Mayer was voted the man of the match. The controversy over ticket sales for the CONCACAF game versus Miami boiled over on Wednesday as the Nashville Soccer Club added insult to injury after charging season ticket holders an average of 4 times the normal ticket prices for their game and enduring accusations of price gouging. The Nashville Soccer Club further stoked fans' ire by announcing that the sections previously labeled as seated supporter sections were mistakenly labeled as such at the beginning of the season, and they were actually supposed to be considered general admission. And opposing team gear would be allowed in the section from here on out. Various fans, including supporter groups, expressed outrage online and threatened boycott, though no official response could be agreed upon by all the supporter groups. Some bit of good news for the fans on Thursday was that the club announced a contract extension for the 2022 MLS MVP and Golden Boot winner Hani Mukhtar. The contract secures Mukhtar's place on the team through the 2026 season with a club option for 2027. Mukhtar was signed as the team's first designated player in 2019, is the club's all-time leader in goals, assists, and points. Then finally on Thursday saw the much anticipated rematch of the League's Cup final from last year as Miami and Messi visited Nashville for the first of two CONCACAF Champions Cup round of 16 games. As a reminder, Miami defeated Nashville last summer in the League's Cup final after that game went to 11 rounds of penalty kicks. The match last night began with a muted protest from the back line, with the supporter section falling silent for the first 2 minutes of the game. Shortly after that was over, Jacob Shaffleburg collected a nifty pass from Shaq Moore for the first of his 2 goals on the night. The second came in the early moments of the second half. Messi responded with his own goal about 10 minutes later, and then the game turned contentious with a lot of physical play, chippy attitudes, and questionable refereeing. Then in the 95th minute, Suarez managed to fight through traffic, net a tying goal for Miami. The match ended in a 2-2 draw, with Jacob Shaffleburg being voted as man of the match. There's a lot going on this past week, gentlemen.
Busy.
Big week.
Let's do our 3 things. That's the 3 things that you loved about this week and the 3 things that you hated. Evan, what's your first thing that you really loved about this week? Let's start on a positive note.
Well, I don't think I loved anything about the Colorado game. So I'm going to fast forward to the Miami match. You know, the first thing that I loved about the Miami match is something we touched on in the previous pod, which is that we were excited to see both Shaffleburg and Boyd start the match together. So as soon as I saw that lineup roll out last night, I was really excited to see what would happen there.
What does that do for you when you see those two together? What's significant about that?
Yeah, you know, I think when we talked about that earlier, I think we were theorizing that Shaffleburg would start as a left wing, Boyd would start as a right wing, but really that's not the way they played it last night. So I think what we were thinking was we would see tons of speed on both wings. I think last night, really, Boyd played more of a striker role, but he's also known as a playmaker. You know, he's even playing from a striker role. I think you could see him really supporting Shaffleburg on an overlap or, you know, one of the other midfielders coming up. So it was speed initially, but then just having him in there with some other real scoring threats excited me.
John, what's something good you saw this past week?
Well, I've got to say my favorite thing, of course, last night was Jacob Shaffleburg establishing himself. I really think he's got a chance this year to really put himself as one of the top, like an MLS All-Star type player. Did he finish both goals with his left? I can't remember. At least the first one, like with his weaker foot, which is shocking to me. Like, I mean, he's obviously been working on it. And, man, we got to get that guy in all the time, don't we?
Yes.
I mean, like, it doesn't even matter who starts with him. Like, Shaffleburg is our X factor to me. He really he let the wings flap. And I think he's our Canada Goose.
I like it. All right, let's get a little bit sour. What's something that you hated this week? We'll start with John.
Well, I've got to say, number 1 has got to be Nashville SC, the operating management team. This week should have been the most fun week, maybe of the whole year. You know, like we got the chance to prove ourselves against a team that the whole world is watching, and the fans should have been pumped, but instead so many fans were turned off by the actions of the front office. The prices are one thing. I mean, it sucks that they kind of exploited the fans the way that they did by putting the prices so high. But ultimately, it is a business. And if we want to see them buy big players down the line and compete with the likes of Miami, they're going to need money. So I was okay with that. And then the whole supporter section fiasco. That is such an easy thing to do, is to not let opposing fans in those 2 sections that they told people. They sold the seats in those sections as a seated supporter section. And, I mean, it's ridiculous because not only are they making it uncomfortable for the fans that are sitting there, they're making it possibly dangerous down the line. I haven't heard of anything happening last night, but, like, can you imagine games against Cincinnati, Atlanta, maybe a Club America in the League's Cup? I can see things going sour really quickly And those seats are within striking distance of the capo stands that are there. They could have just said, I don't know. It gets me so upset that they just gaslighted people by saying, oh, it was mistakenly labeled.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest problem with it, is that they want to try and pass it off as it was a mistake. Nobody's buying that, and it was very clear from the beginning of the season they intended it to be a seated supporter section. They advertised it as such, and they even reached out to people and said, hey, would you like to be in the supporter section but be able to sit down? That wasn't a mistake.
No.
And I would prefer much more that the club just be honest and transparent with us. If they're going to make that change, just be honest and say, we've decided due to ticket demand or something like that, we're reassigning these sections as general admin.
Yeah.
To put forth this story that it was a mistake. I don't buy it. I don't think anyone buys it. And it just makes everybody lose faith in the front office. Evan, do you have something that you really, really disliked or maybe even possibly hated this week?
Yes. The first thing was, pretty much the Colorado match in general, but specifically Shaq's own goal. I went back and watched it today, and it makes no more sense today than it did when it happened. I mean, it was a cross, yeah? He headed it down towards the goal. That is literally the opposite of what you teach any player playing defense, but especially an actual defender. That is the first thing you teach a defender is when a ball's in the air, get it back out and away, up and away from the goal. When you're playing offense, when you're down near your goal trying to score, sure, take a ball out of the air, get it low, get it down, get it towards the goal. It just makes no sense. I don't know how he thought that was going to work.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like soccer 101, and you expect more from someone who's on the U.S. national team, right?
Right.
Yeah, I remember, obviously, I had a drink at halftime watching on TV.
Nuh-uh.
I know. Can you believe that?
You drink during the games?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, this was a one-time thing.
Sure.
No, I turned it, I looked up at the screen and saw Shaq heading into the goal and jumped up like, yes! It didn't even occur to me that was our own goal.
Right. It was a textbook offensive header. Yeah, I can see how you would make that mistake easily.
Yeah. It's frustrating to watch that game and see that we scored all the goals and we got a draw. So I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm just astonished that Evan would voluntarily try to watch that game again.
Well, I didn't rewatch the whole game, that's for sure. I could barely get through it the first time. The first half especially was as bad of a half of a soccer match as I've ever seen.
Professional soccer is worst.
Yeah.
Let's turn happy again. Tell me something else good that you liked this week, Evan.
Okay, on the other side of that coin, I thought Shaq had a great game last night.
Yeah.
And, even after he got that brilliant first assist where he kind of weaved his way Messi-like through their box before laying it off to Shaffleburg, even after that, I thought, well, that's some redemption for the Colorado own goal. But then his brilliant play to score the third goal, which I'm sure we'll get into whether or not that should have stood or not. I mean, that was fantastic. And he had all around good game everywhere. So, well, now I will say that you might argue that if anybody was responsible for losing Suarez in the box on Miami's second goal, maybe it was him, maybe not. But overall, I think Shaq got redemption. And so I loved that this week.
How about you, John?
Well, my second love of the week last night was Anibal Godoy.
Oh, yeah.
Like everything about him.
Just being a man.
He was the intimidator, wasn't he? He was the Dale Earnhardt of Nashville SC. He laid down the law, and obviously the pictures of him getting in Messi and Suarez's face and the fear you can see in their eyes. They know can't fuck with Anibal Godoy. But, I mean, overall, he was great. He played fantastic the whole match, I thought. I don't know. I love the guy.
If you were going to conduct an online poll right now and ask everybody who watched the game last night which player had the largest ball sack, wouldn't you probably think Godoy's got to be in the top 1 or 2 there, right? And the results, wouldn't you say?
It's got to
Does
be.
he run away with it, or is it even a close vote at all?
I mean, I thought our Canada Goose, he stood up to it. I mean, they punched him in the face at least 2 or 3 times, and he just stood. He kept going, didn't he? But, I mean, Godoy, and obviously the whole crowd appreciated it because when he came off, he got a huge ovation.
I texted you guys in that moment. He was getting a hero send-off right then because he exited on the far side of the field and had to walk around right in front of the supporters section. Everybody jumped to their feet. Well, they were already on their feet, but they jumped more to their feet, hands in the air. I wanted
to run down to the field and stick out my hand and say, dude, you rock. The only thing he could have done better was to just bite Suarez.
Sure.
It's probably just as well that he did.
Yeah.
On a side note, you brought up Shaffleburg and all of the abuse that he was taking. Is there something about Jacob Shaffleburg that makes him punchable? That just makes him a punchable kind of guy? Like, people are just like, I got to hit this dude.
It's the hair.
Is it the hair? Yeah, probably so.
Tennessee water slide.
All right, so you got one more thing that you really disliked this week?
This isn't on the pitch.
That's okay.
I'm going to go against the club again. Well, not just the club, but the entire MLS, the whole Open Cup fiasco. It's ridiculous that MLS is trying to take control of this. It's, a 90, 100-year competition. It's the second longest cup competition in the world, maybe, behind the FA Cup.
I thought it was the oldest.
It might be. You could be right. It's clear that it's just something that Apple or MLS doesn't have right now, and they've chosen to emphasize Leagues Cup over the Open Cup, especially our club in particular. We are, I believe, the only MLS team that started its life as a fan-owned club. And not only that, but we also played 2 seasons in USL, which several MLS teams can lay claim to that. But, we know as supporters how important this cup is to lower division soccer in America. And for MLS to try to take the ball and go home, it rubs me wrong. And I can see, I know there was talk of a protest last night and it didn't happen. I'd kind of like to see a widespread boycott of Leagues Cup. I know St. Louis City SC fans, their supporters groups have all today said that they are boycotting Leagues Cup, and I would like to see a similar thing for us and for other MLS teams, unless we rejoin the Leagues Cup in its full form. I mean, the Open Cup, sorry.
Right. Do you think it's even possible to build that kind of momentum across the entire MLS?
Not the whole stadium, but at least supporters groups for the individual teams. I think if there is an organized thing for all supporters groups, maybe it will spread across and other fans will get the idea that fuck Leagues Cup until we're back in the Open Cup. We need to be supporting lower division soccer. We need to be supporting local soccer. All of this is important in America. It's a humongous country. We shouldn't be expecting people in Memphis or Knoxville or Chattanooga to just be Nashville SC fans just because they're the closest MLS team. They should be having their own teams.
And being able to enjoy some competitive soccer.
Exactly.
Yeah, and to keep some rivalries going. I mean, there are some really fun rivalries between MLS teams and USL teams and that sort of thing. I agree.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Evan, any other things that left a bad taste in your mouth this week?
Yeah, and it was going to be petty to begin with, but coming on the heels of John's beautifully epic rant about the Open Cup, it's going to seem ludicrous, but the blue shorts, where?
I'm here for it.
If you know me and my history and love for NSC, the one thing I have complained about more than anything probably is solid color pajama-like kits. I wanted a little two-tone change up and got it for what, one game?
One game.
Come on.
They're just messing with your emotions at this point.
Ridiculous.
Right. So, yeah, it's super petty.
I love petty. That was the first thing I noticed. I think when the guys came out last night, I said, "Where the fuck are the blue shorts?"
Yeah.
Because like it kind of made sense. I think Mocha had similar colors to us. Colorado, they wore maroon. I don't know. I could see it clashing, but like they were wearing all pink. We could have easily just worn blue shorts.
Ugh, drives me crazy. But anyway,
I think they wanted it to look like an Easter basket out there with the pink and the yellows and the refs in blue. And
It was peeps time.
yeah, right. It looked like Marshmallow Pete.
yep.
Let's end it on a positive note. Evan, you got one more positive thing to observe about this week?
Yeah, I do. I love Moyle. I love his hustle. And despite the fact that he can't hardly finish a goal to save his life, I can't help but love the guy. I mean, he hustles the entire time he's in the game. He gives it all. He is such a try-hard in the best possible way.
I love him too.
We affectionately refer to him as the Millersville Messi. And I think that's appropriate in a lot of ways. He reminds me a lot of Russell Westbrook in basketball, where it's just, all out hustle, a motor that doesn't stop. He's the Energizer Bunny, and he just keeps going and,
And he
going
can't
and going.
shoot for shit.
Right. That's the other part of the Westbrook analogy. It's really inaccurate. He sailed that one. He had an open shot at the goal last night that, really would have been nice to have. And he just sailed that sucker into about the, 21st row or something of the stands. How many times have we seen that? You really have to be on your guard if you're behind the goal when he's shooting, because it could go anywhere.
Yeah, and then in the first half, Shaffleburg laid him up an absolute beauty of a cross. And it's like he was trying too hard. He was coming at it so fast that he ended up, getting there a little bit too quick. And if you remember, it was a header, and he kind of like ended up almost like flicking it up, because he got there too soon. I mean, he's just like,
yeah, he's too fast for his own good. Too much energy for his own good sometimes.
yeah, right.
All right. John, one more good thing from you.
One more good thing. I'm going to end it with the best thing of all. Hani Mukhtar.
Yeah.
He's going to be with us until 2026. I think that was the best thing that happened this whole week. Because, it was pretty clear that last year, when the rumors of the move to the possible move to the Middle East happened, his play deteriorated after that. And even Gary Smith mentioned it. Feel like someone else mentioned it too, like in public, that was an issue. And so I think there was a doubt in a lot of people's minds that maybe his mind is not here in Nashville. But we know now he's going to be here. So if he doesn't play well, we know it's just because he isn't playing well. It's not because he's wanting to move away. We know that he wants to be here, and the optimist in me hopes that he is returning to that 2022 first half of 2023 form, where he's comfortable and loving where he is in life. And let's build the damn statue already.
Let me read the quote from the announcement yesterday when they revealed that they had signed him for the next couple of years. And this is his message to the city and to the fans. Nashville, super excited to tell you that my journey here continues. I'm excited to sign a new deal with Nashville SC and keep building on what we've started. This city has embraced me with open arms, and I'm happy to call Nashville home. I salute the fans whose energy fuels our drive to achieve greatness. Big thanks to the club, our dedicated coaches, and the supportive staff behind the scenes for believing in me. Thanks to my teammates for the battles we fought together, and to my family for their love and support. Here's to more victories both on and off the field. I think he's feeling at home here in Nashville. I really do. Yeah. I get that sense a lot, that he's settled in. I don't know if we have seen his best days yet, or if he's in the middle of his peak, or if there's another level, another gear he can get to. I think there's an opportunity or a potential that he might be a career Nashville SC player with this contract. That's my gut feeling, is that we could see him retire in the gold and blue, and that would be fantastic. I'd love to be able to say we took him all the way from 2019 as our first designated player through his entire career. I just hope that people don't get frustrated with him. I could already see it happening last night. Some folks starting to get a little bit antsy and frustrated that we didn't see more activity from him last night. I just think that Miami, they honed in on him and tried to make sure that somebody else had the ball rather than him.
Yeah, see, this is the beauty of adding Surridge last season, Boyd this season. For so long, Hani was just about all we had for any kind of offense at all. And he carried the team for a year and a half at least. And he was tired. He ran out of steam. He was maybe getting some offers or some talk, more money. I don't know. I forget the exact statistic, John, maybe you remember, but he was one of the lowest paid players at his, results level. If you took the guys who were comparable in terms of their offensive output and you ranked them by how much they were getting paid, he was way down the list.
He was 15th, the 15th highest paid player. And there were not 14 players better than him.
Right. Exactly. So we bring on these other guys to take some of that focus away from him. You got Tyler Boyd, who's known for assists. He's an assist specialist. You've got Sam, who can score. You've got his and Hani's obvious connection. You've got Shaffleburg coming into his own. You've got Gaines maybe as a great super sub. We may not have seen the best of Hani Mukhtar yet.
I love it. Let's surround him with these pieces and get that statue built.
Okay, let's do the up down. So in the up down, you guys are going to tell me one thing that's trending up for you and one thing that's trending down for you after this last week. All right. So who wants to start? Who's got something trending up?
Trending up, Jacob Shaffleburg. I said it before. The sky's the limit with this guy. He's got the speed. Now he's looking like he's got the finishing ability. The attack in general, it's crazy that it's kind of exciting to think about that we know when Surge comes back, we could have 4 really, really good attacking players on the pitch. And now, Gary, it's up to you to play them all at the same time and excite the fans. But Shaffleburg, yep, he's my guy.
What's trending down for you this week?
Trending down. I'll let Evan go first.
What's trending down? Going into last night's match, to be quite honest with you, I really didn't like our chances too good. Going into the match, if you would have offered me a draw, I would have taken it. Obviously, with the way the game played out, it really, it was heartbreaking there at the end, and it kind of felt like a loss. But to be quite honest with you, a draw against Miami, fully loaded, really not that bad. So I'm going to think about my down, and I'm going to go ahead and give you my up. And my up is on the center of the midfield, okay? Because we talked about that before, and I think I commented during the game on this. But did you notice how differently Sean Davis was playing last night, progressing the ball as a don't let me run wild with it here. Let's don't call him an attacking midfielder by any means, but didn't you notice something a little bit different about Sean Davis receiving the ball and not immediately turning his back and wanting to lay it off? So if he continues to play like that, Godoy continues to play well as an offensive part in the midfield, then we've mentioned some of these other things, but I'm up on our defensive midfielders as not only great stalwarts, but as potential pivots up the pitch.
Can I just say something about Sean Davis? I've always thought, and I don't know why, but he just reminds me of the old dude from Poltergeist 2. Have you guys ever seen Poltergeist 2? The old demon guy who's haunting the family? Like, he looks like a younger version of that dude. And he's terrorizing Craig T. Nelson and Joe Beth Williams and the whole family. And he keeps telling them that doom is coming for them. And they ultimately do defeat him. But Sean Davis always reminds me of that guy for some reason. I don't know why.
I love it.
That's all I have.
That's awesome.
One thing I will say that I think is trending down are these referees. And was that who was reffing the game last night? Whoever it was, I don't know if it was replacement refs or if they're CONCACAF official refs or whatever it was. Boy.
So yes, that was my trending down. So the refereeing crew last night was experienced Liga MX referees. There was a Mexican crew. The head referee has got experience. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but Ortiz, he has experience refereeing in CONCACAF Nations League, CONCACAF Champions Cup and League competitions. And the VAR official also is an experienced Liga MX official. And boy, did they fuck up last night. I mean, I really hate to be the guy that blames referees on things. I mean, these things even out over the course of a season to me. Obviously, when you're there in the stadium, you shout obscenities at the referee and you tell them all about their mother and everything else.
Oh, you mean I shouldn't be doing that at home?
Oh, you do that at home as well. But like when you think rationally after the game, like, okay, we might have got away with a thing or two as well. Last night, we didn't get away with anything, and they got away with everything. And when you are trying to defend the concept that this is not a fixed competition, I mean, there were at least 3 calls that are mind-boggling during the course of the game.
I hope we're not stepping on your hot take stuff, by the way.
No, this is not my hot take.
Okay.
This is my lukewarm take.
Okay.
That tells you how bad the refereeing was. Then this is my lukewarm take. The Redondo forearm to Shaffleburg, or the elbow. Yeah, it was an elbow. And then Aviles, right before halftime, also shoved Shaffleburg right in front of the view of the 4th official. Nothing happened. The offside call on Shaq at the end. All offside calls are 50-50. But still, it looked just as even as Suarez's goal there at the end.
Yes. And that wasn't reviewed.
Yeah, no review of that. That's my trending down. Fuck CONCACAF referees.
Do we know where they were Wednesday night? Did they hit up Broadway? Were they chilling with bachelorettes? Maybe they were on a party bus or something like that was affecting their judgment by the next day. They're still hungover. I don't know. Maybe they took an afternoon party bus. Maybe they were still drunk.
Could be.
Did the linesman even raise the flag on the offside there on Shaq at the end? Or did VAR?
Yeah, it was a call to goal.
Yeah, I don't think so.
At any point, did that linesman even call that offside?
And it was on their side, yeah.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
All right, guys, let's move on to the Nashville Hot Chicken Takes. Here's what we're going to do. You guys are each going to give me your hottest, hot, crazy take after what all you've seen this week. And I'm going to rate it on a scale of spiciness on whether it's just mild and for a Yankee or it's burning hot. And so I'll be the judge on how hot this take is. So who wants to go first? Who's got a really spicy hot take they want to throw at me?
I'll go for it.
Go for it.
Ian Ayre. He might need to go.
Might.
Is it okay to confess that I'm a Liverpool fan and that I know the history of Liverpool fans with Ian Ayre? They were not happy with him at the end of his Liverpool reign. There was at one point an incremental raise in ticket prices that would not seem all that bad to us, but it was very bad to Liverpool fans. And 10,000 Liverpool fans walked out of a game to protest him, I believe in 2016 or 17. And now, I hate saying this, he is a lovely man. I have to say, he's a very nice guy on a personal level.
Oh, this take is getting colder.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm losing point. But I really like the guy on a personal level. Everybody that has encountered him, he seems like a nice guy, but I can't help but wonder that he gets this job because he doesn't really give a shit about pissing off people in order to make money for the people that employ him.
And our guest on the pod next week is Ian Ayre.
Mr. Ian Ayre. I might have ruined that.
I'm going to call that a mild to medium. It's definitely one where you're not going to have to worry about any sort of spending, serious times in the bathroom later, anything like that. You know, you're not going to feel that chicken later is what I'm going to say. First of all, I don't think you're saying anything too out of bounds versus what a lot of fans think. I think that you probably find a lot of agreement on this right now, especially after the week we just had. You know, to your point, Liverpool's been through it already. They saw this. They know exactly what we're going through. I think that they'd be like, oh, yeah, we know that guy. He is who we thought he was.
100%.
Evan, what do you got for us?
Leo Messi is not that good at soccer, actually.
Oh, extra hot spicy.
No. I'm kidding. That's not my hot take. My take's probably not too hot, but I can't help but wonder what might have been last night if Gary hadn't pulled Zimmerman out in the 80th minute or whenever he came out. I don't remember there being an injury or anything like that. Was there something like that, or was it just?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was down on the field a few minutes before that, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that, and I wondered if it was, Gary's game management, load management, whatever, but I just can't help wondering if Zimmerman had been in the middle of that box in the 90, whatever, 5th minute, 4th, whatever that was, if that game would have ended differently for us.
I would have loved to have known the answer to that. He was down on the field for a couple of minutes with an injury there late in the game, and shortly thereafter he was pulled. I think it was probably more precaution than anything, but I definitely think that played a factor in pulling him out of the game.
Yeah.
John, you and I had a conversation, though, about what really happened on that last goal in the 95th minute that stole victory away from us. And who's the responsible party in your mind?
Do I dare say the name? Till Bunbury. He came in, and there was a play about a minute before that goal where he got the ball, turned around, and he had an option to play it left, an option to play it right, an option to just whack the ball up the field, I think. And he instead played it backwards into the box, and we cleared it out for a long throw. And it was off of that long throw that I think the goal eventually came. Or they, I don't know if they took a long throw, but they threw it in and eventually played it around, and that's where the goal came from. It's Teal. We get the ball. He's got people on his back, and he can't find that next ball, like whether it's on the offensive end or defensive.
I hate to pour on the guy because I know he catches a lot of criticism from a lot of fans, and I couldn't tell last night if they actually booed him when he came into the game or if they were cheering for Mukhtar or booing for Teal. I'm not sure which it was.
I think they were saying Boonberry.
Boonberry. Nonetheless, he catches a lot of flack. Some of it's definitely warranted. And you watched that probably closer than I did and observed that. And, I think, and I'll try my hand at a hot chicken take here, is that the approach last night after Shaffleburg got the second goal was all wrong from our team. We started our old Gary ball stuff again, where it was like, let's pull back, no offensive pressure whatsoever. Even though we had been running them ragged, we had been putting all the pressure on them for the first half of the game. We ended up with a possession split of 70-30 Miami for the game. And a lot of that happened in the second half, where we barely touched the ball after Shaff scored, which he scored like in the second minute of the second half or something. So after that, we were so conservative. It was ridiculous. And I think that's what ended up losing the game for us, because when you have to play defense for that long, it's just inevitable, man. Bad things are going to happen. You may be a great defensive team and be able to put up good front for 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, but eventually a crack will show, and a team as talented as Miami will get through that crack. And they sure as hell did. And I put the loss, or that's not a loss, it feels like a loss. I put the draw squarely on Gary. You actually had a hotter take that we were discussing last night. Well, you were just saying if that game hadn't gone well, and then next week's game against Miami doesn't go well, what were you saying might be the result?
I felt like if we had gotten blown out over the two games, that we might have actually seen the end of Gary Smith. It was essential that we compete with them at the very least. And to give him credit, we sure did compete. But like you're saying, one always has to wonder if this defensive mindset that he clearly has instilled in our team, whether that is holding us back or not. To me, I've always thought that a positive mindset, a thinking that, what if we allow a goal, fuck it, we'll get one back, is the way to go about this sport. Obviously, there are coaches that have succeeded with a don't let them do anything mentality. Jose Mourinho comes to mind. But does Gary Smith have the players Jose Mourinho has had in his career? I wish he did, but he doesn't.
Yeah. Okay, guys, it's time for Don't Put Me in Charge. Let's just say tomorrow you wake up and you get the phone call and Ian Ayre says, John, Evan, I actually decided I need you in the chair to make the decisions. Since your first day general manager of the Nashville Soccer Club, what's the first thing that you do, Evan?
Wow. Just play to win. Go for it. Go for it. It is so much better to play to win than to play not to lose.
So would you change coaches?
Yeah. Yeah. If he is not capable of adjusting, playing that way, especially now that he's got definitely more pieces than he's ever had, then yeah, you gotta switch it up.
John, what would you do if you were in charge?
The first thing I would do is require all executives, anyone that buys into the team, anyone that sits in the front office, to go their first game into the supporter section and sit with them. That's the first thing I would do. What an
experience that would be.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, you got to go hang out with the drummers. Yeah. Like, experience the game from a fan's perspective, and then maybe you will understand how to make this a better club for everyone involved.
I love it.
I would take all those stupid patches that they decided to make up for all the neighborhoods and just give them out for free. I don't know if you guys have seen those things. It's nothing spectacular. I'd just start handing those out when people walked through the gates.
How much do you think they paid for this?
It's not worth $7 or whatever they were charging for them. All right, guys, let's do the week in preview. On Sunday, Nashville hosts the LA Galaxy at Geodis Park for an afternoon game. Nashville will be seeking their first ever victory against the Galaxy, having drawn once and lost twice in their 3 meetings so far, including a first-round playoff loss in 2022. Then Nashville will hit the road for the second leg of the CONCACAF round of 16 against Miami. The match takes place at Chase Stadium in Miami on Wednesday. Nashville looking to finally get over the hump with Miami and advance to the final 8 in the tournament. And then next Saturday, the 16th, the team will return to the Castle and host Charlotte FC. Charlotte and Nashville split their previous face-offs with a 1-1-1 record. Last year, Nashville beat Charlotte on the road in May and then drew at home in September. You guys have any wild and crazy predictions for what might happen this week, what we might see? John?
I sure do. I think that Sunday's game is going to be very boring. We will see players I'm not even sure we know the names of, if it was up to me anyway. I don't know. Mackenzie Gaines, he's got to start. I got to imagine Teal's probably going to start. I think there will be a lot of squad rotation. Hani may come off the bench. I would say, optimistically, we scratch a 1-0 win on a PK somewhere or a corner kick or something.
That would be nice.
And then for my Miami second leg prediction, I'm going full-on optimist. Pro Gary Smith, we are going to be outshot 37-1 and win 1-0. That's my call. Joe Willis makes 22 saves.
Joe Willis with 60 clean sheets to his career so far, and counting.
Make it 61.
He's looking fantastic so far this season.
He really is looking good. We're going to beat Miami. We have to. I can't tolerate a loss to them.
I agree. Evan, what's your wild predictions for this week?
Wild predictions. Well, I'm going to predict that we beat the Galaxy 3-0.
Woo!
Wow.
Moyle hat trick.
Yeah.
He's going to find his finishing boots.
This is a much spicier hot take than anything you guys have said so far.
We got a Moyle hat trick.
Yeah.
People are going to, completely forget they ever heard of Ricky Poosh, and they're going to be talking about Alex Moyle. We go down and beat Miami. David Beckham is at the game. He leaves in tears. And then we come back and we beat Charlotte 3-0. Mackenzie Gaines gets a hat trick against his former club.
Wow, lots of hat tricks happening. That's really awesome.
And I would say if all that happens, we build the Gary statue right beside the Hani Mukhtar statue.
Jesus.
Oh, gosh.
My wild prediction is that by the end of this week and by the time that we've played all three of these games, Jacob Shaffleburg, there's a conversation that we're going to be having about who's the most loved NSC player. Is it Hani Mukhtar or is it Jacob Shaffleburg? That's my prediction. Is that's going to become a real conversation. If it's not this week, it's soon in this season. It's going to be discussed. I see a lot of Shaffleburg jerseys at the games, guys. I think he's on the rise. I think you're right. Should be in conversation for an all-star pick and
a statue.
Maybe a statue. But I think the fans love him, and I don't think teams see him coming. I just think he's winning the hearts and minds of people across this great city. I'll tell you that.
I would say that if you got a problem with Shaffleburg, you got a problem with me. And I suggest you let that one marinate.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. It's been a fun conversation. You guys did a great job. And we'll wrap this up. We'll tune in next time. We'll see how the team fares on all this. Good luck to the boys in gold. Everybody, thanks for listening. Come on, you boys in gold.
Come on, you boys in gold.
Glory to Music City.